Have you ever seen a recipe online and then attempted to create it yourself, only for it to turn out like that chicken parmesan your mom made the one time when she decided to substitute the chicken for fish and pretend like you wouldn't notice? Or perhaps you've tried to replicate one of those art styles that you've seen on Pinterest, only to be bested by one of those elementary school kids in a showcase at your local library. Or perhaps you've even written the best op-ed in class, but still got a failing grade because you used the wrong version of veil, which apparently there's six kinds of. I have a pet peeve with perfection. It's that thing that we decide to put behind the wall of success and continually reach for. So let's talk about three things that I have issues with in my life. The first is something that hopefully we can all get behind, and that's getting dressed. I see you've all accomplished that this morning. But for me, the first thing I do is put on my lower half and then my shoes. For whatever particular reason, I don't know. And then I stand there. Either it takes 5 minutes or 5 hours, but picking the perfect wear is difficult. I checked the weather because the weather in my room is different from the weather downstairs, which is different from the weather outside, and then the weather in my car, which is different than the parking lot outside the office, and nonetheless, the office I work in and the lunchroom. This is difficult. It's not something I thought I would ever have to struggle with, but I do. T-shirts seem to be a go-to because you never really judge someone for wearing a t-shirt. But that goes into my next thing: perfection with food. I know we've all done it. Driving around, figure out you're hungry, and then you need to pick where to go. I think we all try to find that perfect bite, that perfect piece of food that's going to satisfy that hunger. But we spend all of our time trying to accommodate one another, that we end up settling for something a little less. We're afraid of reaching that perfection because we can't reach for it for ourselves. And this is something that also bothers me. Thirdly, writing. I'm now starting to understand why people hire editors. It wasn't until recently that I realized that editing and producing your content are two different things. It's kind of like mixing condiments. You really shouldn't do it unless you're good at it. I mean, apparently ketchup mayo turned out all right, but I'm not one to invest in that. But perfection in my world is constantly answering a question with another question. It's saying, why did you do that? I don't know. Why are you saying it that way? I think we tend to get trapped up in pet peeves. It's something that we really don't like. But as one of you mentioned earlier, pet peeves are something that we tend to have ourselves. I also am not a fan of aggressive drivers, though I'm realizing that I tend to be one as well. I also hate being late, but recently I found sleeping in is worth that guilt of not doing so. My pet peeve with perfection is because I'm constantly striving to come up with the best thing that you can do. And with writing in particular, the worst thing that we did was create the backspace button. When we wrote with a pen, it was permanent. You took ink to paper and that couldn't be changed unless you ripped it out. Even with the typewriters, you physically saw that mistake. But now we can write a sentence and rewrite it before it's even written. And I'll repeat that for you. We can write a sentence and rewrite it before it's written because we're not satisfied with what we're producing. My challenge to you is also a challenge to myself, and that is look at your pet peeves, not with a perfect eye, but one that has flaws. If we teach a pet peeve like writing, it should be able to edit it, and a pet should be able to be trained. Thank you.